Hello YouTube and welcome back into another Dare to Game video. Today we're going to be talking about Red Dead Redemption Online / Red Dead 2 and kind of the whole overarching situation that Rockstar's got the game sitting in right now. And so as everyone familiar with this channel should probably be aware by now, Rockstar has announced, or Take-Two Interactive depending on how you want to look at it, has announced that Red Dead Online will no longer be receiving any major active updates or any future content really. They left it open for like the ambiguous small, I think they said like seasonal events were still a possibility and things like that. But basically they told us not to expect any large updates. This was either in direct response or as a result of, depending on how you want to look at it, save Red Dead Online and then the Red Dead Online funeral. So that would be why we actually got a response. I'm sure that the reason for doing this isn't actually driven by either of those events. Mostly just, well, obviously we all know what it's driven by. Red Dead was never the cash cow that GTA Online was. But that being said, a lot of people like to point out, or I should say they like to scapegoat Red Dead fans and defend Rockstar by saying that it just doesn't make as much money. So fiscally it makes sense for them to not want to support Red Dead Online as much as they want to support Grand Theft Auto Online. And obviously there is a dollars and cents to be added to this, and yeah, quite clearly Grand Theft Auto Online pulls in billions of dollars. So obviously they want to put all of their focus on that. In fact, that's like the whole reason why gaming in general has been trending towards games as a service for the last decade, is because of the success of Grand Theft Auto Online. Every time your favorite franchise turns into a online pay-to-win, grinding, microtransaction-y, basically generic bland shithole, is because all of those companies saw how much money Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive were making with Grand Theft Auto Online, and they want to imitate that model. Because if you think about it, it's an impeccable business model. They made this game, and mind you, Grand Theft Auto 5, the single player for it, is probably, well, it's definitely one of my favorite Grand Theft Auto games. It might be in my top 10 favorite games of all time, but probably not. The modern setting just doesn't do it for me as much as a lot of things do. But it's, as far as a Grand Theft Auto game goes, it's right up there with GTA San Andreas for me for like best Grand Theft Auto games ever. So the online mode, obviously, it's not a terrible game. It gets old over time, and the griefing is pretty bad. There's a pretty toxic community, and it's definitely pay to win. And then they added Cayo Perico to make it not pay to win, and now they recently nerfed that, so it is kind of back to it again because you can't make nearly as much money with Cayo Perico as you used to be able to. How you feel about Grand Theft Auto Online aside, my opinion and kind of the whole topic of this video is that Red Dead Online was always a better game. And so I did want to bring up the fact that the argument that Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't make money is a pretty bad one. So, the development cycle for Red Dead 2 was very similar to Rockstar's general development cycle. It's about the same as the first Red Dead game, and both GTA 4 and GTA 5. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. That being said, graphically and technically speaking, Red Dead 2 remains, to this day in 2022, one of the most impressive games ever released. Like, there are very few games out there that A, have had the graphical fidelity and just overall performance and everything that Red Dead 2's story has. Obviously, Red Dead Online isn't as good as Red Dead 2's story, but the online mode is still very good and miles ahead of Grand Theft Auto Online's technical abilities. Obviously, the setting is very different, and because it's in the Old West, it limits it, but it also felt higher quality. You know, when playing Grand Theft Auto Online, which I have played a lot, any of the missions, even the newest, not the newest update, but the one where, I forget what it was called, but the one where they brought Dr. Dre in and Lamar back from the story and everything, it was probably the most interesting update content-wise that GTA Online has ever had. But because of the technical limitations of the system and the style of the game, it still didn't feel as good as the average Red Dead Online content. So the story in Red Dead Online, the one that Rockstar has never finished, and now they are just not going to finish, was higher quality than anything in Grand Theft Auto Online because it actually felt almost the quality of a single-player story. They had managed to make a multiplayer online game with story missions that were nearly as engaging as their single-player counterparts. So that would be why I was so impressed with Red Dead Online when I first started playing it. But the game itself, whether you want to talk about annual earnings for microtransactions or not, Red Dead Redemption 2 sold 44 million copies, making it something like the 8th best-selling game of all time. So that alone should be justification for further support. That's a huge audience. Very few games have ever reached that level or anywhere near that level. That is financial success. Yes, when you compare it to a cash cow that you made, like I said, a decade ago, that you haven't had to do anything major since, just small content updates and adding cars and stuff like that so people can spend hundreds of dollars on shark cards for it, yes, that's obviously more profitable. But to pretend that Red Dead 2 and by extension Red Dead Online aren't profitable is ridiculous. It's one of the best-selling games of all time, microtransactions aside. And like I said, it performs infinitely better. The other day, I popped onto Red Dead Online to try playing a little bit because I still enjoy the game despite the fact that Rockstar has totally abandoned it. But it's getting so bad, like server-wise, that it takes forever to load into the world, and when you do, it still stutters, and if you try opening menus, sometimes you get locked into menus and stuff. They said that they're going to keep supporting it, but that's not what I see. Every server I've logged onto recently has been, well, for one thing, just empty, no one's in it, and the performance, just trying to play it, has been awful because it's, like I said, it's like it has no support at all. I don't know if they're servers, they're putting them on the old MySpace servers or something like that, but whatever it is, there's just not nearly as much of a smooth experience as there used to be with this game. But so I got sick of that and I decided to pop into single player mode, and it surprised me a little bit because I hadn't played it for so long. It had probably been about a year since the last time I played Red Dead Redemption 2 Story, but it is still one of the most enjoyable games to play. And like I said, this game is no longer a brand new game, but it still plays like one. It's still the most impressive thing on the market. It still has some of the most enjoyable open world content, some of the best gunplay for a non-first person shooter game. Obviously, it's, like I said, it's not an FPS game, but the gunplay in it is very enjoyable. I'm someone who plays a lot of open world RPGs and action exploration games, and basically this is right up my alley, and Red Dead 2's gunplay is the best out of any of them. There isn't a Max Payne game out there or anything that comes anywhere near this. Far Cry can't hold a candle to it. You know, there's nothing that really compares to Red Dead 2's experience in the game. Both gameplay, story, environment, immersion, everything. It's just way better than almost everything that's come out in the last 20 years. And so, yeah, no, basically, my argument is just, not only is Red Dead better than Grand Theft Auto, like the online modes, but it's always been that way, and it probably always will be that way. Grand Theft Auto is just a cash cow. Grand Theft Auto 6, I mean, we'll have to see, because they're trying to dull down the Grand Theft Auto edginess, because in, you know, the modern cancel culture, Grand Theft Auto's traditionally over-the-top edginess is probably the word I'm going to stick with, just for YouTube reasons. They're trying to dull that down, and that's definitely going to affect the core audience of Grand Theft Auto. I'm willing to bet GTA 6 will see ridiculous sales just because of GTA Online's success and how many kids have played it over the last 10 years. I think it marks the decline of the Grand Theft Auto franchise for sure. But Red Dead, if it were to ever get a new game, is probably going to be at the same quality level. Because I think that you've got team members at Rockstar who clearly just care more about it. The quality of both Red Dead games is higher than anything Grand Theft Auto has ever reached in any term you want to look at, whether it's gameplay or writing. They're just infinitely better games, and I feel like that's the way that it's going to stay. So while it's bad news that Red Dead 2's or Red Dead Online's content updates seem to be totally done with, I think it's good news that we can remember that whatever the form the next Red Dead game takes, whether it's a sequel or a prequel or whatever the case may be, or a spin-off, it's still going to be a good game, and it's going to be better than Grand Theft Auto. That's basically all I wanted to talk about today, just kind of thoughts on the situation. I still love the game, still have it downloaded and played every once in a while, especially the single player, which I've been playing a lot in the last week, but probably not going to be a whole lot of videos coming out on the channel for it, as unfortunate as that may be. I maybe will stream it some more in the future, but hard to say. When a game dies, it's just kind of sad to keep playing it. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any thoughts about Red Dead's decline or Rockstar Games' decline, or maybe you think that both are better than ever and I'm just being a pessimist, leave all those thoughts down in the comment section below. But in any case, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.